Within minutes of its release, the whistleblower complaint sparking clashes on Capitol Hill.
Our president sacrificed our national security and our Constitution for his personal political benefit.
This latest gambit by the Democrats to overturn the people's mandate is unhinged and dangerous.
In the 9-page complaint, the whistleblower makes a series of bombshell allegations, writing, "I have received information from multiple U.S. government officials that the President of the United States is using the power of his office to solicit interference from a foreign country in the 2020 U.S. election, including pressuring a foreign country to investigate one of the president's main domestic political rivals," pointing to that July phone call between President Trump and Ukraine's president. The whistleblower, who acknowledged they were not a direct witness to most of the events described, adding, "White House officials who told me this information were deeply disturbed by what had transpired in the phone call."
I think the whistleblower did the right thing. I think he followed the law every step of the way.
Today, the acting director of national intelligence, Joseph Maguire, who served more than 3 decades as a Navy SEAL, was pressed by Democrats why he didn't turn over the complaint sooner, given the inspector general found the allegations represented an urgent concern that appears credible, while noting the whistleblower showed signs of an arguable political bias.
The inspector general found that serious allegation of misconduct by the president credible. Did you also find that credible?
I did not criticize the Inspector General's decision on whether or not it was credible.
Tonight, Democrats are zeroing in on this allegation from the whistleblower. I learned from multiple U.S. officials that senior White House officials had intervened to lock down all records of the phone call, that they were directed by White House lawyers to place it in a separate system for classified information, and that this was not the first time under this administration that a presidential transcript was placed there solely for the purpose of protecting politically sensitive rather than national security sensitive information.
Did that reaction to the transcript seem to you like a recognition within the White House that the call was completely improper?
Congresswoman, I have no firsthand knowledge of that. All I have is the knowledge that the whistleblower alleges in his allegation.
And asked whether he spoke to the president about the complaint.
My conversations with the president, because I'm the director of national intelligence, are privileged.
Tonight, some Republicans expressing concerns about the president's call.
Concerning that conversation, I want to say to the president, this is not okay. It isn't, that conversation is not okay.
Still, President Trump's allies are dismissing the complaint.
When I think of whistleblower complaints, I think of somebody who saw something that was wrong and came forward to say so. This is hearsay information.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi taking aim at the White House.
The complaint states that the White House tried to lock down all records of the call. This is a cover-up. This is a cover-up.
And Lester, today Maguire said he would be fine with the whistleblower testifying. And tonight, top Democrats say they are still working to make that happen, but no new discussions have taken place.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.